Welcome to another episode of Inspirational Journeys of the Best Minds, the podcast spotlighting those who challenge convention, lead with purpose, and redefine success. Joining us today is Maryam Telmesani, Vice President of Sustainability at Saudi Group. Celebrated for her leadership in multi-sectoral sustainable strategies spanning Saudi Arabia and internationally. Mariam has held key positions as Chief Sustainability Officer for several companies, serves as a trusted sustainability advisor, and is an expert in residence for the Hunt Prize. She has shared her expertise of over 60 global sustainability events and earned numerous prestigious accolades. Mariam's story is one of courage, creativity, and relentless drive to embed sustainability at the core of every decision. Mariam, we are so excited to hear about your journey and welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for the amazing introduction. You made me feel like so proud of the journey I had so far. And at the same time, I'm very humble. I'm like, wow, I managed to achieve all of that. So,
Well, it's only reflective about the inspiring journey that you have, and that's exactly what we want to capture, on this particular episode. So let's break the ice by perhaps learning a little more about you and what made you you. So let's start from your childhood. What did you want to become as a kid, and how did you get started in your career?
well, I never had a specific dream career, right? For me, it was about, I wanted to be something big, someone that had, an influence.
Hmm.
Um, I looked at people like, business leaders, actresses from all different industries. Those who made an actual influence were the ones that inspired me. So it wasn't like, where do I want to be or what path I should take? It was for me about, I want to become someone recognized, but for their impact, not for anything else, right? And growing up, I mean, I was raised in a family that really invested in education. So imagine, like in high school, kindergarten, I was already learning three languages. I was speaking Arabic, French, and English.
Hmm.
Every summer, I was attending a different summer camp to, nourish different skills. We were traveling a lot. It means I experienced a lot of different cultures. I was every time traveling, looking at the world from a different perspective. Culture really, attracted me. How people are doing things differently from one country to another,
Hmm.
how there is no one scene that you see across the world. So these kind of like elements really sparked an interest inside me. I wanted to know more about people, and as a child I was always connected to nature. In fact, I was called like natured spoiled little girl, because I really really believed that I was I'm a beach person. Until now, I'm a beach person. I love the time I spend in the beach, connecting to nature. So those are the elements that really created Maryam Telmesani, right? Being so connected to humanity, being connected to nature, having the curious mind. I was never, by the way, the polite, calm student. I was one that is super naughty, right? I was very smart, and I felt like I needed more than just what was given to me in the classes and the lessons. And my mom did a very, very good job grounding me and, even punishing me when I was like just relying on my brightness. And she's like, you need to put in effort. It is not only about being smart. And believe me, this few lines really shaped who I am today, because now in my career, every time I face a new struggle, I have like a new task, I enter a new industry that, requests a lot of knowledge. That phrase of, don't just rely on being smart, do the hard work. I do the research, I do my own methodologies, approaches of business. And so this entire combination of the childhood really shaped who I am today, big time.
Lovely. What a grounded way of answering this. And this is again so reflective in your style, especially since I'm interacting with you personally. You know, your aura truly reflects through the screen. All right. So now talking about, you definitely have made a mark in the sustainability sector. So I'm curious to understand what inspired you. Was there any turning point? Is there any particular event that actually helped you transition, from your early career to that of sustainability?
Okay, so maybe let's give the people a little bit of a glimpse. I started in fashion, and then I did education because I loved like tutoring, and this is something I still keep until now, educating people, doing a lot of workshop and so on. And then I worked across different things. I became a consultant. I focused more on business, and then I worked across different industries, whether it's like land development, real estate development, oil and gas, food and agriculture, construction, and now I'm in aviation, right? So I did so many things. And as I told you, I had like real values that shaped Maryam, which is humanities, care for nature, the curiosity to think out of the box and build something that is long term, which is strategist, right?
Hmm.
So when I was doing my executive MBA at Holt, I came across the sustainability concept. I was like, oh my god, this is exactly what I want to do, because this is about long term development in a way that is in balance between responsibility towards people and the nature. So, this is exactly what I wanted to focus on. And that little nerd in me made me go and take every single course on sustainability, whether from building strategies, counting GHG emissions, sustainability for finance, how to tell a story, marketing for sustainability, every aspect of sustainability you would think of, I took courses for to shape my knowledge, to really, take a grasp on different elements, not only, the reporting or the general thing. I really wanted to be the expert on
Hmm.
sustainability as much as I can. And until now, it's a continuous journey for me. I keep taking like any kind of course that is there. So with that, when I was working in one of the companies, not in a role that is related to sustainability, we were given a plan on sustainability that came from the company's branch in Dubai. And they were like, we need to present this to the chairman of the group,
Hmm.
because we really believe in sustainability and we believe this is the plan. So I was like, but we can do way better. And everyone's looking at me like this, the word sustainability itself is very new. You think you can do better already? I said yes. So the CEO believed in me and he said, take the chance, go and do whatever you want. And I did the paper. I did a plan for the company for sustainability, and it was sent to the chairman of the group.
Hmm.
Immediately, he requested to meet me, and I joined the Council of Sustainability as the sustainability director for that company. And then I was appointed as the CSO of sustainability for the group. And from there, my journey in sustainability escalated. So, a turning point perhaps in my career was when I became the first chairwoman of the United Nations Global Compact. It was the first Saudi chapter, right? And that turn in my career shifted for one reason, because, from taking a role that is very um, about just shifting the strategies in corporation, working with organization, to dealing with global level kind of dialogues and strategies affecting the or influencing and doing a collaboration between different entities within the kingdom and entities outside the kingdom. So the dialogue and the level of inspiration really shifted big time. So on a career level, that was my big turning point. Maybe on a personal level, it was in one of my events, the really early big ones.
Hmm.
After I was done with the panel, people started approaching me and they were like, Miss Maryam, it's a pleasure to meet you. You inspired my career. And then another young lady was like, can I please have a talk with you? I mean, you're my role model, how you're navigating, how you're taking this leadership position. In my mind, I was like, what? People are considering me like I'm that, I have that influence on people. So it really hit me there that my journey is not about my journey anymore. It's about the ripple effect it has on people. Because now, that shift that happened, it came with a lot of bigger responsibility. And really from there, I took it super seriously that I really wanted to impact, and I really wanted to have the chance to sit with the young generation to help support, whether they're an SME, whether they're people in the university. Every request I receive, I made sure that I have specific time off my official work and role to just help and inspire and lead.
Great. I mean, I see two things stemming from your response. One is, of course, the clarity that you developed early on, and you wanted to profess it, in the most organized manner. And I think for any leader, clarity of message is very important when it comes to building authenticity. And the second
Yes.
thing I see is your, inclination to inspire others as well. As you mentioned, there's a ripple effect, and it comes with a lot of responsibility, which puts you automatically on a higher pedestal, irrespective of the title that you hold. So both incredible qualities for any leader, Maria. Great. Now let's try and understand a little bit about the sustainability regulations in Saudi Arabia. Now, how do you see the new Saudi sustainability and ESG framework, such as, let's say, Vision 2030 initiatives, shaping private sector responsibility in the next 5 to 10 years?
All right. So in Saudi Arabia, if you look at Vision 2030, you will really realize that it is all built around sustainability, because the part of the human is being well taken care of, with driving the female empowerment, driving equality, equal opportunity, increasing the chances for the younger generation, putting a lot of focus on developing the human capacity, right?
Mhm.
And making sure that the market does exist for, the younger generation, the SMEs, etc. And then when you look at the environmental part, the investment that is made by the kingdom on the renewable energy, Saudi Green Initiative, things that are taking it to the next level. And again, the effect here is beyond Saudi, because
Mhm.
we do have, the Middle East Green Initiative and more and more and more. We're part of every global dialogue. We are committed to so many, agreement on a global level, right? So on the economic part, the kingdom is doing two things. So there is the encouragement of the local content, which strengthen your, own local economy. And then you have all of the global kind of collaborations, partnerships that helps position, the kingdom in a very strong position economically. And let's not forget the diversification of being reliant on only oil and gas to all of what you're seeing now, investment in entertainment, tourism, things that, so this in its own is keeping the country sustainable. And this is, this is the short answer to tell everyone that Vision 2030 is really uh, the heart of it is sustainability, and this is how the kingdom is so serious about it, right? Now, when it comes to regulation, I believe that in order for sustainability to actually be delivered and achieved, regulation is one of the most important enablers, but it has to be done hand in hand with proper forecasting, with proper implementation plan, proper education, so people will know and how to follow those regulations, will have the space, the know-how, and so on. So it is being shaped. The file itself is under so many different ministries, be it the Ministry of Economy and Planning, handling the SDGs file, be it the Ministry of Energy handling the renewable energy file, and so on, the Ministry of Environment, Water and Agriculture, looking after all of the environmental element of it, Saudi Green Initiative, etc. And this goes to the private sector by default, and the private sector perhaps has more pressure, and some of them started the journey early enough, because with all of the global partnership, you are requested to have sustainability, criteria in order to have deals, partnerships. Sometimes it's part of the procurement and the contracting, requirements. So the private sector came, at least the very big companies and the ones that are an international brand, they were exposed to it more. And the government took a very good advantage of that. So they brought those people on board. They created a leadership program for sustainability. They listened to what worked and what didn't work, and they're creating, collaborative workshops in order to make sure that this file advances. Now it is part of Tadawul, the IPO market, that they are requesting the ESG report and so on. So it is there, governed in the root of every action we take. But maybe it is now more than ever, it is taking its right pace to take full implementation. But what I really like is that they're making sure that they are creating the right entities. So we have entities that were created like the NCEC, National
Mm.
Center of Environmental Compliance, and then you have the Center for the Wildlife, and then you have the Center for Waste Management. So, because they wanted to make sure that the governance is there. So to look into every aspect of that, not only let's do sustainability, no, they wanted to make sure that the enablers are there, investment arms are there. So we have CERC to invest in waste management solutions, and so it's a complete picture that's being taken care of from different aspects, which is very comprehensive, and it enables the growth of sustainability properly.
Right. It's more of an ecosystem than just
Yes.
an initiative. And as you mentioned, it's highly collaborative and it allows a two-way feedback so that, we learn from,
And it is the
experience.
only way it will work, right?
Right.
Otherwise, people, if you work in silo, if you start the dialogue early, and you have regulations but no one is understanding it, or the private sector is just working on their own to do things, while the gap will widen, and we will never reach anywhere, right? We will not hit the targets of 2030.
Right. All right, let's take a little more, sectoral approach here now. As a chairwoman of the environmental policy group at Arab Air Carriers Organization, what role do you see aviation playing in achieving regional carbon reduction targets, and what innovations excite you the most in this sector?
Okay, so exciting enough, when I joined aviation, I was super shocked by the amount of regulation complexity.
Hmm.
It is one of the most heavily regulated industries when it comes to sustainability. And, sometimes that's not a blessing, because,
Hmm.
the more complicated the regulations you have, especially if they don't speak to each other, if they don't have mutual recognition, it comes as a burden to the industry, right? Rather than an enabler. And this is why it's important to really, think about it from every perspective. What does it mean for the business carriers or the airlines, and what does it mean for the entire industry? It is not only about pushing regulations. So my role there is to see what really works for the Arab world. What gaps do we have that we need to overcome? How can we advance our uniqueness, and put it out there as part of the dialogue? So it's not only about what Europe is doing, what the rest of the world is doing. No, it's about understanding what is our unique opportunity, how we can advance it. What does our, Arab carrier need, in terms of gaps to achieve sustainability, and how can we collectively work together to make sure that this is being covered, bridged, and so on. So it's a very different scenario, and we are facing a lot of like challenges within the region. But one of the, let's say, strongest thing that we are managing to do is putting our voice out there, saying that no, this is doable, this is not doable. For example, the net zero target, the staff dialogue itself, that is now, you know t- the buzz of the
Hmm.
aviation industry. So it is real, we do believe in it, we want it to happen, but at the same time, why not consider the other alternatives that are available? Why not look at the lower carbon aviation fuel, the LCAF, that our region could produce, massively? Why not, give it, because the end of the day, we have the net zero target by 2050, right?
Correct.
SAF is facing a lot of challenges when it comes to supply, when it comes to credibility, when it comes to so many things. Credibility of suppliers, not the SAF itself. So if this is lacking and you have an alternative that is reducing the carbon footprint, even if by 8%, why not use it?
Hmm.
Give it a gradual kind of, because the plan should be gradual. You should complement, otherwise, we're going to be relying on a lot of offsetting until staff market is mature enough, right? So enabling and giving the space to all of the different technologies, all of the different alternatives is a must.
Right.
And believe me, we are having a very strong voice, and we are, honestly speaking, working with IATA, working with ICAO, we're being heard, and it is a two-way path, and everyone is
Absolutely.
understanding this. Yeah.
Correct. Correct. There's a lot of compliance adherence that needs to happen. There's a lot of interdepartmental collaboration,
Correct.
that comes into place with aviation. Great. Thank you for giving an insight also into the background of, what is setting the right premises within the sector. Now, you also sit on multiple boards and advisory groups, right? From your perspective, how can businesses and government entities collaborate more effectively to accelerate the overall green economy transition in the kingdom?
Actually, collaboration is the keyword, because if we don't sit together and see what do we need and what is missing, where are the real opportunities, how do we enable green financing, what kind of frameworks do we need, how does it work for every specific sector,
Hmm.
because the need is not the same.
Mhm.
So I can have one framework for like green financing or for the carbon market, but rest assured that the deeper you go for every industry, the differences you will see when it comes to what are the criteria, where are my priorities, the focus area, etc. So what we make sure to do from the, at least the National Committee of Sustainability and Green Initiative, is to really understand the challenges of the private sector, what is needed, where
Hmm.
are the actual gaps,
Mhm.
how do we link that to all of the available resources of the government,
Hmm.
and what are the government programs or key platforms that will help, the private sector, and then we create that kind of bridge, and
Right.
and we link things together, and we help the dialogue mature. And when you are sitting on a national committee level and you're exposed to all of, because this is under the Federation of Saudi Chambers, and you have all of the companies across the kingdom, etc. So this is a very big platform that
Hmm.
will really link the dialogue and help it go flawlessly. But it is making sure that you do have the right connection and you do have the right mindset on how to utilize
Hmm.
that. So instead of going and saying, you know what, let's put out a very high level agenda and we want to aim for the stars, we wanted to make it grounded, very realistic,
Hmm.
and achievable, because we wanted to make, actionable items as
Hmm.
our targets,
Hmm.
because we are coming from the industry itself and we know what are the challenges. We want, um, as I mentioned, both sides, the government and the private sector, to be linked
Hmm.
in a way that will advance and accelerate the journey of sustainability advancement.
Sounds good. Now, you mentioned about, the growing emphasis on ESG reporting. So what do you believe will be the most critical metrics or standards that Saudi companies must align with to remain competitive internationally?
So, if you're speaking about competitive internationally, and that's not only now, we're past being competitive.
Hmm.
Now that's more of like a compliant thing. It's not a lovely to do or a good to do; it's a must to do.
Correct.
Because now you see, like you have Ecovadis, you have things that are an assessment tool to actually qualify you to be in their supply chain, to qualify you for a certain contract and partnership. So sustainability is moving from that perspective of it's a competitive advantage, it is good to have, to the it is a must have, and if you
Hmm.
don't have it, you're just not there. So with that being said, the let's say the international or the standards that are being used as a common standard for
Hmm.
everyone is the ESGs, right?
Hmm.
But from my personal perspective, relying on ESG is alone does not create, a strong sustainability, let's say, a tracing tool
Hmm.
for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
I would always love to link SDGs as an impact areas to ESGs, and link all of that to GRIs, because GRIs for me are the most credible materiality based reporting metrics. They're very simple, straightforward. You get amazing results, just following those kind of like reporting criteria of that. So for me, it's the link of those three.
Hmm.
If you do that as a company, you have the SDGs, the GRIs, and ESGs, then I believe you will be having a very strong sustainability uh, story to tell that is related to traceable initiatives that are audited, that are very real and very let's say captured and measured. Okay, so this is from my personal opinion the right way to approach it.
Right. No, that's a very unique perspective. As you mentioned, just ESG metrics are not enough. It has to be in tandem with other parameters as well. Now, I just want to understand a little more about, let's dive a little more into your journey. Now, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced early on, and how did you overcome them, especially with respect to your leadership journey, with respect to change management, influencing government affairs? How did you create that leeway to be established as a significant voice? And what are the major challenges that you see leaders are yet to overcome, and how did you overcome yours?
Okay, so maybe one of my biggest challenges was that I didn't have a clear path. And I think this is, maybe it relates to a lot of people, because a lot of like the younger ones come to me and they're like, but we really don't know what we want to be.
Hmm.
Or maybe I thought I wanted to do that, but at the end of the day, I'm being assigned in different positions.
Hmm.
It is so I was on that situation. I never had, as I mentioned, a clear path of like, I just wanted to be one thing, but I wanted to have an impact. I wanted my journey to have an impact. So
Hmm.
I was very flexible and open and diving and into those new challenges, new industries, learning the tricks and the ins and outs, and doing a lot of like research and the work. So flexibility and the acceptance of the undefined path
Hmm.
is one of the very important skills that I think leadership should really work on having, because your path is never defined as a straight line from point A to point B. Sometimes you study something, you end up working in a very different field. Sometimes you start your career at something and then you end up being maybe a very inspiring person in a different journey for the community or whatever. So just being able to navigate through ambiguity is very
Hmm.
important. And sometimes, even if you are in a defined industry, you're working, for example, let's say in construction, you will move from one role to another. It will never be crystal clear. You will always face the unknown. So just
Hmm.
be adaptable, be ready for that. I mean, the world itself is changing. We suddenly faced corona. No one was ready for that, but those who managed to you know face the unknown and take the quick actions, that flexibility, that adaptability to change is very, very, very important. Maybe the other challenge that I had was not everyone understood what I was doing, right? So sustainability was very new.
Hmm.
And when I started the dialogue and people from, the government or people from even um, let's say, highest level of organizations always ask me, Miriam, what is this? Why do we want to do this? I mean, we hear it every time we hear it. So that resistance is
Hmm.
real, right? You will face resistance. It's not only about sustainability, sometimes it's for new ideas, it's
Hmm.
for the way you do things. It is important to know how to work with resistance. So for me, it was learning what clicks with that person. What
Hmm.
is, I mean, speaking to their background, speaking to what really makes the value, or to that what clicks with him. So if I'm speaking to a chairman of our, or a CEO, I know they will care about the financial value of sustainability. So one time I remember when I joined the construction industry, I was asked like, why would I do sustainability, Miriam? What is that? I'm like, if you want to land on big projects, giga projects and stuff, it's the main requirement in every contract to have sustainability. If you don't, you will not have any of those contracts. As simple as that. He said, go and do it. Right? So you just need to learn how to navigate through the challenge. And one of the things I learned is educating people.
Hmm.
So I created my own curricula of sustainability for functions. I have my own training materials that I give. I do a lot of awareness sessions. So, again, it is just making sure that you can come up with the right method to face that resistance. Ease it, let it be relatable, know how to communicate the idea in a way that clicks with your audience. Those are the two main, challenges I was facing, and I think those are very good advices.
Thank you for that. Now, one very important aspect that you mentioned was basically cutting through the friction and not being taken aback. Just because a new idea is introduced and people don't understand it doesn't mean it's wrong. So, given the push for sustainability in the corporate strategy, what new skills or mindsets do you think the next generation of Saudi leaders must develop in order to facilitate and thrive in this transition? What are those top three qualities that you can think of for somebody who wants to aspire, a career in sustainability?
Number one, continuous education, and seriously educate yourself about sustainability. Because sometimes people think if I know the concept, if I am passionate about it, if I love the SDGs, then I can do sustainability. That is not true, right? So, and find your niche. So there are so many things to do in sustainability. You can be a reporting expert. You can be, a sustainability analyst for the data. You can be a sustainability PM. So you all look into the initiatives, managing them, putting the KPIs for them. You can be a strategist. So there are different scopes. So learn, utilize your skills in the best way in sustainability if you have the passion there, and equip yourself with the right knowledge to actually make sure that you can cut and navigate through, because there is nothing important more important than having the weapon of knowledge, right?
Hmm.
Because you're going to be asked questions, and if you claim to be the expert, be ready to answer all of the questions that you have your way, right? So the second thing is um, really being having the growth mindset, the openness to thinking outside of the box, adapting to different challenges, because sustainability is about finding new ways to do things. It is shifting business from the usual way to doing it in a more responsible, uh, you know, uh, eco-friendly way, that is also ticking the boxes of creating an economic value and looking for the best of the people. So it is thinking outside of the box, it's thinking innovatively. So that is very important, because if you don't have that mentality, if you don't have the spark for innovation, or if you're not understanding what innovation is, what does it mean, how do you think innovatively, then you will not be able to actually catch up with the change and the shift that is happening in the industry, because it is very rapid.
Hmm.
I mean, the last thing is definitely communication, 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 because in sustainability, you have to work collaboratively.
Correct.
You will work with different level, whether it's like people that are on the ground, the labor, people on the sea level, people across function. It is not a one single department job. It has to have it involves every stakeholder, be it in your company, be it the partnerships that you will be building, be it the regulator. You will be working with literally everyone. So you need to know how to communicate. You need to know how to make sure that you tell the story in a way that will inspire people. You explain the concept in a way that will relate to people. You make sure that you train the people in a way that links to their function. So one of the things I do is, and that's like the curricula I developed, is I wanted people to understand, what does sustainability mean for HR?
Hmm.
What does sustainability mean for marketing, for finance, for different, because it is different and everyone has a role to play in it, right? So they need to understand it from their perspective and able, to give me what I want, to design the initiatives, to hit my targets. So always knowing how to communicate is a key thing for, I mean, those are a set of like very, very important skills that the younger leader should have in mind.
Great. No, thank you for spelling it out in such clear terms. I quickly wanted to understand your take on this with the Web3 transformation that we are observing, and especially with some very stringent legislations coming around, not just to understand but also driving the right security and privacy terms. What role do you see that of emerging tech like, let's say, AI or blockchain or the ledger technology, when it comes to transforming the way, sustainability is tracked, measured, and implemented in the kingdom?
Okay. We are one of the countries that is heavily investing in technology. Even like from every perspective, I always say technology is a tool that will assist people, right?
Hmm,
When it first started, I mean, look at computers now, look at the mobile now. It is making the life easier, right? So AI is the same. It is another tool that is helping efficiency. It is cutting off a lot of like time that was wasted in doing, unnecessary things, and it is being utilized for sustainability in various manners. So, and even, I mean, per industry, you will see different applications of AI technologies, right? And advanced technologies. So in construction, you can see like the digital twins. You can see all of those, advanced techs. In aviation, we are utilizing AI from every aspect of the customer experience, be it like the booking, the entire journey of how we even do in operations, like forecasting. But it what I want to deliver is it heavily relies on our input, right?
hmm,
So what makes an AI tool very effective, whatever it is going to be implemented, is what you feed it, right? So they always come and tell you, give me your data, let me, take, and you see also in sustainability different um, technologies, different tools that are being developed.
hmm,
What really makes the difference, and when developers seek out to me and know we have a new tool, we want your advice and so on, I always say, look at what is missing, feed it in a way that is different. So for example, if it's reading all of these standards of sustainability,
hmm,
if it knows how to create benchmarks, if it knows how to give me my performance indicators, if it creates, yani it takes my data in a very simple way and it reads it across different, standards, and I can generate reports on SDGs, GRIs, SAS, whatever, that's an added benefit. If it takes the industry specific regulation, that is another level, right? So again, it depends on how you dig deep to find, further ways to feed it the right information that is actually desired, that will
hmm,
make a cutting edge. So AI is really, really important, and I see it in things that are also beyond, operations, heavy lifting and stuff, because even from a soft skill kind of perspective,
hmm,
look at what it's doing to our life, right? So you have the personal trainer, you have, things, the healthier lifestyle. It is easier. It's making things better. But with that shift as well, people have to keep in mind that we need to cope up. So it is not, the journey is advancing, the change is happening. The younger generation need to look at that and to where the career path is going. What advanced technology should they implement? Because until now, we receive ideas that you feel like, guys, aren't you seeing what's happening in the market,
hmm,
right? So don't you see where technology is going? So sometimes being stuck in an idea that you generate and you really believe in, uh, and not seeing where the advanced technology is going or how you utilize it actually to make your idea even advance more, is something that I believe the responsibility of the generation to take in, as when we reject the ideas and when we say that um, you didn't do your homework right, because
Hmm.
the, the growth is there, all of the tools are there to help you. It is
Correct.
not okay to see a presentation that is not appealing. It is not okay to see that you lack data. It is not okay to see that you lack, analysis of ideas. It is not okay to see that you are coming with solutions that are existing in the market, because now with a simple question, with you can have the answers. So this is all, taking away all of the time that, you know, early enough we used to spend to do the research, to collect the data. So the requirements are not the same. The factors of the success are advancing as the technology and everything else advance. So just make sure that you really take full advantage of what's happening around you.
Right. Basically, it boils down to asking the right questions and using the convenience to understand better and still be innovative in that approach. Great. Now, let's dive into the future. Let's say if we fast forward to 2040, what is your vision for Saudi Arabia's role in the overall global sustainability leadership?
I think we're gonna be, and I'm that's not a wish. I'm really sure that with the way we are working, we're gonna be taking a very concrete role in advancing the region's sustainability,
Hmm.
and this will have an effect on the world, right? Because I believe that if you start with fixing your country, your region, and then you understand the uniqueness and putting the right framework to collaborate is very important.
Hmm.
So if I know what Saudi Arabia can do for the less developed country because of what I have, because of my resources, and then I do that and I pledge to it, versus what Europe or London, for example, specifically can do for another less developed country, and you segregate the agenda based on that, only then you will see those very big promises turn into an actionable commitment, right? Because what we see every year
Hmm.
in COP, etc., is we pledge, we have those big promises, but where are the actionable frameworks that really speaks to every country, every region, and make sure that it helps to deliver, right?
Hmm.
So I think we will be in a position that, inshallah, with the way we are working, is going to lead 100% regional advancements and global dialogues.
Understood. And just since we are diving into the future and trying to figure out how you think and what your vision is, let's say if you won a lottery and money was not a factor whatsoever, how would you choose to spend your time then?
I would have a lot of, you know, time with my daughters. I have three daughters. And yeah, yeah, we'll be
You don't look
exploring.
that old, I must. I'm passing an
Oh,
open
thank
compliment.
you.
I'm shocked and surprised at the same time.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I actually have three daughters, Mayar, Maha, and Maya. And they are already like of age 16, 12, and 10. So I would really love to spend my time with them and doing what I love the most, um, traveling, exploring culture while having, a lot of impact. So I would love to lead community campaigns, community work that is about preserving our nature, and taking the younger generation to the, let's say, the next level of aspiration. I want them to all feel that they are part of the story, because unfortunately, even when I mean, I look at my daughters and how they spend their time, all of the new games and the technology, as you mentioned, it's way different than how we used to spend our time, right? But I make sure that I take my girls to the beach every, let's say, 2 weekends, and I want them to connect, and even it's a family rule when we gather that, they put out their iPhones and that, because we want them to connect. And I'm very happy that education in Saudi Arabia is taking a role about educating them on sustainability. My daughters, I always speak to them about what I do, right? And then because I want them to relate. So when I travel a lot and I have things, they know that I'm doing things for purpose, right? And when I was in the Holt prize the first year, I was a mentor for one specific group, and they won the challenge. And their story, coming from an African country and then how they won the $1 million, my daughters connected with that big time, and they went saying my mom is a hero. And she helped a group of people from Africa, and they started taking those action. Even their school was always telling me they are so kind. They collect, the waste after the break. They do things because they believe in the story. So now the education has sustainability embedded in their curriculum, and they're having a lot of like science fair where they explore sustainability. The SDGs are being a part of their science fair. My daughters are always like upfront saying, so my mom works in that. My mom started that, um, and they are very happy. And they're telling me, Mom, look, now we're learning about your work. Now we're telling everyone that this is what my mom does, and they carry on this with a lot of passion. So I would really love to make sure that it's the story of the community. It's not just for the corporate world. I want to bring sustainability to everyone.
In order to be an empathetic leader, it is always very important to have a mindful mentoring. And I was able to capture both these attributes. And thank you for giving me the time, to elaborate on points and to help me understand what it takes to be an effective leader. And I'm sure our audience is going to be absolutely overwhelmed and definitely inspired by your thoughts.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me again. Being grounded to your values is what matter, and uh, staying humble is a critical part of success through the journey. Because at the end of the day, just look at it as, I mean, I never look at it from an outside perspective. What am I gaining? Who is like being inspired? It's like, what am I doing? I still have, a lot to achieve. So, but I just wanted to make sure that across that journey, I have an influence. That's it. So any platform to help, the wider community to be inspired, to take role, to even understand sustainability, to know what it means, or to just, listen or advance their leadership skill, anything to support, I'm more than happy to contribute to.
Thank you. Thank you, Ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, we are wrapping up another effective and inspiring session and capturing another unique story at the inspirational journeys of the best minds. We'll be back with another episode very soon. But until then, thank you so much for staying tuned in. And thank you once again, Mariam, for finding the time to connect
Thank,
with us.
thank you so much.
Thank you.